Hello students, today we are going to discuss electromagnetic waves NCERT section 8.3 and example 8.1 and 8.2. So this is the disclaimer. So after this lecture you will be able to understand what are electromagnetic waves, how they are created and travel through space and medium. Okay, yesterday we have discussed about the displacement current and the relation between the time varying magnetic field and electric field. Okay, so that discovery of time varying electric field producing magnetic field and time varying magnetic field producing electric field gave rise to the concept of electromagnetic waves. So today we are going to discuss about the electromagnetic waves, that how they are produced and how they travel through space and medium. So index of topics that we are going to discuss today's NCERT section 8.3 electromagnetic waves, section 8.3.1 source of electromagnetic waves, section 8.3.2 nature of electromagnetic waves, example 8.1 and example 8.2. Also we are going to discuss some additional topics important for JEE and NEET. Okay, let's start with the NCERT section 8.3 electromagnetic waves. Okay, so what were the consequences of Maxwell equation? So Maxwell gave 4 equations. He unified the laws of electricity and magnetism and gave 4 equations. So what were the consequences? So what was Faraday's law? A changing magnetic field creates an electric field. Okay, so according to Faraday law, time varying magnetic field creates electric field. We have seen in the experiments of Faraday and Henry that time varying magnetic field, we were moving the magnet and there was a relative motion between magnet and coil. Okay, due to the relative motion, magnetic field through the coil was changing with respect to time. So time varying magnetic field creates the electric field, or we can say induce the EMF or current. What was Ampere's Maxwell law? We have discussed yesterday. A changing electric field creates magnetic field. We have seen that between the plates of the capacitor, if electric field is changing, it will produce the magnetic field. So time varying electric field creates a magnetic field. What was the prediction about the electromagnetic waves? Maxwell predicted the existence of electromagnetic waves. Okay, Maxwell unified these laws. Okay, so if changing magnetic field is producing electric field and changing electric field is creating the magnetic field, so what Maxwell predicted, he predicted the existence of electromagnetic wave. And electromagnetic waves are consisted of both electric and magnetic field that are varying with time and mutually perpendicular to each other. So Maxwell predicted the existence of electromagnetic waves. A disturbance of E and B fields can propagate through space and sustain itself. A changing E fields produce a changing B field. Okay, so changing electric field produce changing magnetic field, which in turn produce changing electric field. Okay, changing electric field is producing changing magnetic field, and changing magnetic field is in turn producing changing electric field, and so on. Okay, so they are self-sustaining fields. One field is varying and producing another field is varying and producing the previous field. Means electric field is producing magnetic field is producing electric field. They are producing each other. Okay, so they are self-sustaining, means they are sustaining by varying themselves. Okay, they are one producing the another, so they are self-sustaining fields. So these waves propagate without needing any material medium. Okay, so no medium is required. We have discussed in waves chapter also that electromagnetic waves can travel through vacuum also, so they don't require medium. The speed of these waves in vacuum as calculated. So Maxwell calculated the speed of electromagnetic waves. He predicted the existence of electromagnetic waves. He just gave theoretical information. He didn't produce electromagnetic waves, but he predicted the existence. He calculated the speed of the electromagnetic waves theoretically with the expression C equal to 1 by root mu naught epsilon naught. Okay, so C is the speed of the light. So plugging in the values of mu naught, which is mu naught is equal to 4 pi into 10 to the minus 7 Tesla meter per ampere, and epsilon naught is equal to 8.854 into 10 to the minus 12 coulomb square Newton meter square. Okay, so he predicted the value of C. Okay, so C came out to be approximately equal to 2.99792 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Okay, this value is identical to the measured speed of light. This led to the conclusion that light is an electromagnetic wave. Okay, so he calculated the value of C with this equation 1 by root mu naught epsilon naught. Okay, so when he calculated this value, it came close to 2.99792 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, which is very close value to the speed of light, okay, in the vacuum. So this led to conclusion that light is an electromagnetic wave. Okay, so it is an important result of Maxwell's theory that accelerated charge radiate electromagnetic waves. Okay, so due to stationary charge, only electric field is produced. Due to moving charge with constant velocity, magnetic field is produced. But due to moving charges that are being accelerated, so accelerated charges radiate the electromagnetic waves. So stationary charge produces static electrostatic fields only. Okay, stationary charges do not produce magnetic field. They only produce the electrostatic fields. Charge in uniform motion, that is called steady currents. If charges are moving with constant velocity or moving in a wire or any beam of charges, so they produce static magnetic field. That magnetic field produces not varying with time. We have discussed in Biot-Savart law also, Ampere-Circuitor law also, the magnetic field due to the motion of charges is only static magnetic field. That magnetic field do not change with the time. Since these fields are static, so neither stationary charges nor charges in uniform motion steady currents can be sources of electromagnetic waves. Okay, so in electromagnetic waves, we require changing electric field, changing magnetic field with respect to time. Okay, so neither stationary charges nor charges in uniform motion can produce the electromagnetic waves, because in both these conditions only static fields are created. Okay, so accelerated charge is source of electromagnetic waves. So it is being accelerated, it will produce the electric field that is changing with respect to time, or we can say it is accelerating, it will produce magnetic field that is changing with respect to time. That changing magnetic field will produce changing electric field with respect to time. Okay, so consider a charge oscillating with some frequency. An oscillating charge is an example of accelerating charge. Okay, so if charge is oscillating, means its acceleration, its velocity is changing with respect to time. When it is at mean position, velocity is maximum. When it is at extreme position, velocity is minimum. Then direction of velocity is also changing in the oscillations. So that means it is accelerated motion of charge. So oscillating charge is an example of accelerating charge. This produces an oscillating electric field in the space. So due to the oscillation of the charge, if charge is stationary, then field will be electrostatic. Okay, static electric field. Or if charge is oscillating, then it will produce the oscillating electric field in the space, which produces the oscillating magnetic field. Oscillating, or we can say changing electric field, will produce the oscillating magnetic field, which in turn is a source of oscillating electric field. So oscillating electric field is producing oscillating magnetic field. Oscillating magnetic field in return again producing oscillating electric field. So they are producing each other at the same time. So they are self-sustaining fields. Okay, and so on. The oscillating electric and magnetic fields thus regenerate each other. They are regenerating each other using Faraday's law and Ampere's law. According to Faraday's law, changing magnetic field will produce electric field, and according to Ampere's modified law or Ampere's Maxwell law, changing electric field will produce magnetic field. So they are regenerating each other. Frequency of the electromagnetic wave naturally equals to the frequency of oscillation of charge. Okay, charge is oscillating, So frequency of oscillation of charge will be equal to the frequency of electromagnetic wave. Okay, what is frequency of electromagnetic wave? We have discussed about frequency of waves in waves chapter. Okay, so similarly, electromagnetic wave is a type of wave. So it will have some frequency. Okay, number of waves passing through a given point in a given in a unit second. Okay, so this is frequency in a unit time. So frequency of electromagnetic wave will be equal to oscillation of charge, and energy of wave comes from the, so energy stored in the wave, energy stored in the electromagnetic wave comes from energy source that is forcing charge to accelerate. So we are accelerating or oscillating charge. So we are providing any energy to the charge, that's why it is oscillating or accelerating. So that energy will be stored in the electromagnetic wave produced due to the oscillation of charge. Okay. Now historical background. So the Hertz experiment. Hertz conducted Hertz experiment. So Hertz, a scientist whose name is Heinrich Hertz. So he conducted an experiment in 1888. Okay, experimentally confirmed the existence of electromagnetic waves. So he experimentally confirmed the existence of radio waves. He produced the radio waves. Okay, or experimentally confirmed the existence. So Maxwell only gave the theoretical knowledge. He only predicted the existence of electromagnetic waves by calculating its velocity. Okay, by giving its 4 equations. But experimentally it was confirmed by Hertz. Okay, he conducted an experiment and confirmed the existence of electromagnetic waves. Okay, or radio waves. Why radio waves? Because frequency of radio waves is less, wavelength of radio waves is more. So they are easy to produce than other electromagnetic waves. Okay, we are going to discuss number of or types of electromagnetic waves. You may have discussed in chemistry also. It is gamma rays, x-rays, microwaves, visible rays, or infrared rays, and radio waves. Okay, so these are type of electromagnetic waves. So he generated the radio waves because they are easy to generate, because they have less frequency and large wavelength, as predicted by the James Clerk Maxwell's theory. The experiment involved generating and detecting these waves using a spark gap apparatus. Okay, so this experiment is not included in your syllabus. Okay, only you should know that Hertz experimentally confirmed the existence by producing radio waves. Okay, but apparatus was spark gap apparatus. Okay, there was a gap where high potential difference was created, due to which spark was produced, due to which radio waves were generated. Okay, that apparatus or experiment is not included in your syllabus. So the experiment involved generating and detecting these waves using a spark gap apparatus and demonstrating their propagation like properties like reflection, refraction, and interference. So they studied about that how electromagnetic waves are reflecting, how they are refracting, how they are interfering with each other. Like we are going to discuss in ray optics also. Okay, that what is the reflection of light. Light is also electromagnetic wave. Okay, lying in the visible region. So he demonstrated the propagation and properties like reflection, refraction, and interference. So 7 years after Hertz, Jagdish Chandra Bose, working at Calcutta, now known as Kolkata, succeeded in producing and observing electromagnetic waves of much shorter wavelength. Okay, so 7 years after the Hertz experiment, Hertz produced the radio waves. Okay, but the radio waves generated by the Hertz are of very large wavelength. Okay, so 7 years after Hertz, Jagdish Chandra Bose, working at Calcutta, succeeded in producing and observing the electromagnetic waves of shorter wavelength, that is 25 mm to 5 mm. Okay, these are the work that was listed by which scientist this work has been done. So Hertz firstly confirmed the existence of electromagnetic waves. Then Jagdish Chandra Bose, after 7 years of Hertz experiment, he succeeded in producing electromagnetic waves of shorter wavelength. Okay, his experiment, like that of Hertz, was confined to the laboratory. Okay, that experiment was for the laboratory use only, that not practical use. Okay, so his experiment was only to produce the waves, but they have produced waves. But what is the use of waves nowadays? Electromagnetic waves, radio waves, are used in which sector? For telecommunication. Most of the use of radio waves are for telecommunication. Okay, your mobile phones, your televisions. Okay, like every information is transmitted from one place to another place with the help of electromagnetic waves, or most of the electromagnetic waves used for this are radio waves. Okay, but they only produced, there was no practical use. Their experiments were confined to the laboratory only. But Guglielmo Marconi in Italy followed Hertz's work and succeeded in transmitting electromagnetic waves over distances of many kilometers. So he came out of the laboratory. Okay, his work was not confined to the laboratory. He succeeded in transmitting, he succeeded in uh, practical significance to explain the practical significance of the electromagnetic waves. So he transmit the electromagnetic waves over distances of many kilometers. Okay, so due to his work, so Marconi's experiment marks the beginning of the field of communication using electromagnetic waves. From his experiments, from Marconi's experiment, then there was a beginning of the field of communication. Okay, communication using radio waves. Now we are using mobile phones or any other information, television or any other informations, or there were Wi-Fi connections. Okay, so these were started by the Marconi's experiment. Charging of a capacitor. Okay, so again figure 8.2, we have discussed about it in our previous lecture. So figure 8.2a, electric and magnetic fields E and B between the capacitor plates at point M. B picture is cross-sectional view of the figure A. So consider figure 8.2, the electric field inside the plates of the capacitor is directly perpendicular to the plates. Okay, so electric field is from one plate to another plate. So plane of plates like this, plates are held like that. Their plane is perpendicular to the paper, but electric field is in the plane of paper. Electric field is from one plate to another plate. So electric field is directed perpendicular to the plates. Okay, you can see this is the front view of the capacitor. These are circular plates, but we are seeing from front, we are only seeing a line. So they are circular plates. So electric field is from one plate to another, and electric field, direction of electric field is perpendicular to the plane of plates. This changing electric field, now this electric field is changing. So this changing electric field give rise to the displacement current. Okay, magnetic field produced due to displacement current, and that displacement current, according to Maxwell law, it will produce magnetic field along the perimeter of the circle parallel to the capacitor plate. So this is this dashed line, dashed circle, you can see in the diagram, or you can see in this cross sectional view, B figure. This cross is marked for electric field direction. Okay, electric field is perpendicular to the plane if we are viewing from side. So these cross are marked for electric field. This is side view, cross sectional view, and magnetic field is in the circular form or in the plane parallel to these plates. Okay, so magnetic field produced due to displacement current is along the perimeter, along this perimeter of circular path and parallel to the capacitor plates. Okay, so magnetic field and electric field are perpendicular to each other. Electric field is perpendicular to the plane of these plates, and magnetic field is parallel to the plate of this parallel to the plates of the capacitor. So both magnetic field and electric field are mutually perpendicular to each other. So B and E are perpendicular in this case. Thus changing electric field produces magnetic field, which is generally perpendicular to the changing electric field. Okay, also an electromagnetic wave, both electric field and magnetic field are mutually perpendicular to each other. Okay, the solutions to Maxwell equation in free space describe wave with specific properties. So this is a representation of electromagnetic wave. Figure 8.3, a linearly polarized. So what is linearly polarized? That is the further topic. What is polarization? We will discuss in wave optics. Okay, so you don't have to bother these words. So linearly polarized electromagnetic wave propagating in z direction with the oscillating electric field E along the x direction and oscillating magnetic field B along the y direction. So you can see this is electric field, oscillating electric field. This is oscillating magnetic field. So the magnetic field, direction of magnetic field, oscillation of magnetic field is in YZ plane, and oscillation of this electric field is in XZ plane. So both electric field and magnetic field, they are mutually perpendicular to each other, and they are perpendicular to direction of propagation. Direction of propagation is in Z direction. Direction of electric field is in X direction. Direction of magnetic field is in Y direction. So all these things, electric field, magnetic field and direction of propagation, they all are mutually perpendicular to each other. So transverse nature, the electric field E and magnetic field B are perpendicular to each other and perpendicular to direction of wave propagation. Okay, that's why we can say electromagnetic wave is a transverse wave having transverse nature. Okay, we have discussed about what are longitudinal waves, what are transverse wave in waves chapter. What are longitudinal waves? When the vibration of particles is in the same direction of propagation. And what is transverse wave? Then vibration or oscillation of the particles is perpendicular to the wave propagation. So oscillation of this electric field and magnetic field is perpendicular to the propagation of wave. Okay, that's why electromagnetic wave have transverse nature. If the wave travels in z direction, E and B lies in the xy plane. Okay, mutually perpendicularity, the electric field E and magnetic field B are always perpendicular to each other. Okay, we have seen in the diagram also. In phase oscillation, okay, also you can see the maximum of electric field reached when maximum of magnetic field is reached. So both maximum of both electric field and magnetic field is reached at same time. Zero of both electric field and magnetic field is reached at same time. Okay, so they are in phase with each other. What is meant by phase? That they are reaching their maximum, minimum or zero value at the same time. So electric field and magnetic field are in phase with each other. So the electric and magnetic fields oscillate in phase. They reach their maximum, minimum values at same time and position. Got it? So propagation of planar EM wave. Direction of propagation of planar EM wave is given by direction of cross product. So electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other. So E cross B, or we can say E cap dot B cap cross B cap. Okay, they will give the direction of propagation. We know that cross product, when we are doing the cross product of two vectors, then we will get another vector having direction perpendicular to both the individual vectors in the cross product. Okay, similarly, if we are going to find the direction of propagation, we have to do E cap cross B cap, or we can say E cross B. Okay, normally. So if we are going to find only direction, then E cap cross B cap. If we are going to find the magnitude of this vector also, then E cross B. Okay, so we are only concerned with the direction of propagation. So direction of propagation can be found using E cap cross B cap. Okay, so this cross product will give the direction perpendicular to both electric field and magnetic field and give the direction of propagation. Figure 8.3 is a typical example of plane electromagnetic wave propagating along z direction. The fields are shown as a function of z coordinate at a given time t. Okay, so we have discussed the equation of waves also in the waves chapter. We are going to use it here. Okay, so I will explain also. The electric field Ex is along the x-axis. Okay, in the diagram it is represented that electric field is in what direction? X-axis, and varies sinusoidally with z at a given time. The magnetic field By, so magnetic field is in y direction, so it is along the y-axis, and again varies sinusoidally with z. So both electric field and magnetic field are varying sinusoidally. They are in phase. They are varying sinusoidally with z. Okay, and they are varying with respect to time also. Okay, because they are varying sinusoidally. We have discussed in AC currents. Okay, AC current is varying sinusoidally with respect to time. Similarly, electric field and magnetic fields are varying sinusoidally. They are mutually perpendicular to each other. They are in phase with each other. Okay. The electric and magnetic field Ex and Bx are perpendicular to each other and to direction of propagation z. Now, mathematical description of electric and magnetic field. So for a plane electromagnetic wave propagating along the z direction, the fields can be described as, if electromagnetic waves in moving in positive z direction. So what is the equation for electric field and magnetic field? So electric field can be represented as, so Ex is the function of z and t. Okay, z is the direction of propagation of wave and t is with respect to time. Okay, so it is function of z and t. So Ex zt is equal to E naught sine kz minus omega t. So this is the equation of wave propagating in a space or medium. Okay, so this is the equation of electromagnetic wave. We have discussed it in waves chapter also in the 11th class. Okay, so you have to revise that chapter, or you can revise that equation. So Ex is equal to E naught sine kz minus omega t. Okay, so this k is what? Wave number. Omega is angular velocity. T is time. Z is the direction of propagation in the axis in which wave is moving. Okay, so mark it as 8.7 A equation. Now By argument of z and t, function of z and t, B naught sine kz minus omega t. Okay, similar equation, only in place of Ex it is By, in place of E naught is B naught. E naught is the maximum value of electric field. B naught is maximum value or peak value of magnetic field. Mark it as 8.7 B equation. For a plane electromagnetic wave propagating along the z direction, minus z direction, the fields can be described as, if electromagnetic wave is propagating in minus z direction, then what will be the equation? So Ex function of zt is equal to, only the sign in the equation will change. Initially it was, if there is a positive, if the wave is moving in positive z direction, it will be kz minus omega t. Argument of sign will be kz minus omega t. If it is moving in minus z direction, then argument of sign will be kz plus omega t. Okay, it is reverse. If minus z direction means kz plus omega t. Okay, similarly for magnetic field, By function of z and t equal to B naught sine kz plus omega t. Okay, so it is a function of time and position. Okay, t representing time, z representing the position of the wave in the space along the z direction. That's why z is written. Okay, along z in the space. Okay, it is representing the position of electromagnetic wave along z in the space. So notice that sign of omega t is reversed here when we are considering the electromagnetic wave in the opposite direction or in the negative z direction. So sign of omega t is reversed here as compared to previous two equations. So omega in the first, these two equations was minus omega. Now in these equations it's plus omega. E naught, B naught are amplitudes of the electric and magnetic field. Omega is the angular frequency, omega equal to 2 pi nu, where nu is the frequency. Okay, what is k? K is the magnitude of wave vector k, or we can say it is propagation vector. Okay, k is magnitude, it is called wave vector or it is called propagation vector. It is given by k equal to 2 pi by lambda. Lambda is the wavelength of the electromagnetic wave. Okay, mark it as 8.8 equation. So where lambda is the wavelength of the wave, k is also called wave number. It is also called wave number, but its vector form, if it is, we are representing it as vector, it is known as wave vector or propagation vector. Okay, it represents the, its direction is same as the propagation of wave. So it represents the direction of propagation also. Okay, or magnitude of this wave vector is wave number, which is represented by 2 pi by lambda. Direction of k describes the direction of propagation of the wave. Relationship between the parameters. So there is some relationship between the parameters on which question can be asked. So since omega is equal to 2 pi nu, k is equal to, and k is equal to 2 pi by lambda. So omega by k, we are taking the ratio of omega and k. So considering the ratio of omega by k, it will result in 2 pi nu upon 2 pi upon lambda. So 2 pi and 2 pi will get cancelled out. Lambda will go in the numerator. It will become nu lambda. We know that what is nu lambda? Equal to speed. Okay, and we are discussing the propagation of electromagnetic wave in space. So this speed will be equal to speed of the electromagnetic wave, which is speed of the light, which is equal to 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So ratio of omega and k representing the speed of electromagnetic wave. So omega by k represent the speed of the wave given by c equal to omega by k. So this is the important expression you should remember. Relationship between parameters. So omega is equal to ck. Omega by k is equal to c. So omega is equal to ck, where c is equal to 1 by root mu naught epsilon naught. Okay, and we know that nu lambda is equal to c. So these are the equations. So omega is equal to ck is 8.9 a equation, and nu lambda is equal to c is 8.9 b equation. So amplitude relationship. So the amplitude of electric field. Now what is the relation between amplitude E naught and amplitude of magnetic field B naught? So amplitude of electric field and magnetic fields are related by the speed of light as B naught equal to E naught by C. Okay, this is the relation between the amplitudes of, what is amplitude? Maximum value of electric field and magnetic field. So amplitude of electric and magnetic field are related by the speed of light, that is B naught equal to E naught by C. Okay, E naught is divided by C. Okay, that means amplitude of magnetic field is very small as compared to amplitude of electric field. Okay, electric field magnitude is divided by 3 into 10 power 8, large amount, large value. It is divided by very huge value. That's why we know that magnetic field magnitude, amplitude of magnetic field will be very small as compared to amplitude of electric field in the electromagnetic wave. Okay, so this is the relation between B naught and E naught. Mark it as 8.10 equation. Okay, so these are the relation that omega is equal to 2 pi nu, k is equal to 2 pi by lambda. So we have found the ratio omega by k, which is equal to, which came out equal to nu into lambda. We know that nu lambda is equal to speed of the wave, and we are considering wave in the vacuum. So speed of the wave will be considered as speed of light, c. Okay, so these all are the relation between the parameters, and this is the amplitude relation of amplitude of electric field and magnetic field. So note, in SI units, the magnitude of electric field is c times the magnitude of magnetic field. So we have seen that B naught is equal to E naught by C. So E naught will be equal to C into B naught. Means magnitude of electric field is C times the magnitude of magnetic field, making the electric field effects much more prominent in interaction with matter as compared to magnetic fields. Okay, so you may discuss in the, you may study in the wave optics also, that why electric field vector of light is considered in the polarization of light. Okay, we don't consider the magnetic field vector generally, because magnitude of magnetic field is much smaller than the magnitude of electric field in the electromagnetic wave. So electric field affects much more prominent in interaction when wave interact with matter. So the effect due to electric field vector is more prominent than the magnetic fields. Also, equation 8.10 can be written as B equal to E by C. Okay, so that were the amplitudes, but B equal to E by C, this is not the amplitude. Okay, where B and E are the RMS value. Now we have seen in alternating current also the term that is out of the that is along with the sign argument. There is a sign term, there is a constant term, that is maximum value or amplitude. Okay, so there is a RMS value also. Okay, so B and E are the RMS value. So B naught equal to E naught upon C. We can write it in RMS values also. B equal to E upon C. Because B naught is equal to root 2 into B. Okay, B is RMS value. So we know the relation between RMS value and peak value. So we can write this expression as B equal to E upon C also in the terms of RMS values of magnetic field and electric field. Now features of electromagnetic waves. Electromagnetic waves are self-sustaining oscillations of electric field. Means electric field, changing electric field is producing changing magnetic field. Changing magnetic field is producing changing electric field. They are generating each other. So they are self-sustaining oscillations in free space or vacuum. Electromagnetic waves do not require medium for propagation. But when an EM wave propagates through the material medium, its speed changes. Okay, they do not require medium for propagation, but their speed changes when they enters a material medium other than the free space or vacuum. The properties of medium are defined by electric permittivity and magnetic permeability. We know that speed of the wave in the vacuum is given by C, which is equal to 1 by root epsilon naught into mu naught. So properties of medium is defined by electric permeability and magnetic electric permittivity and magnetic permeability. Okay, so when this wave enters any medium, then this epsilon naught will become epsilon, permittivity of medium, and this mu naught in the expression of speed become mu, that is permeability of medium. So speed of the wave V in the medium, if wave is in the speed will change, it will become V instead of C. So V is given by V equal to 1 by root mu E. So mu naught epsilon naught, that were the permittivity and permeability in free spaces. So if the wave is entering any medium, so this mu naught will become mu and epsilon naught become epsilon. Okay, so this is the speed of wave in medium. Does the speed of light depends on electrical and magnetic properties of the medium. So what is refractive index? We know that refractive index we are going to discuss in ray optics, but we are going to discuss it briefly in one slide also. So definition: the ratio of speed of light in vacuum to the speed of medium. Okay, so refractive index is defined as the speed of wave in the vacuum divided by speed of wave in the medium. So that is the refractive index of that medium. So which is equal to 1 by root mu naught epsilon naught upon 1 by root mu epsilon, which is equal to, after simplifying it, it will become root mu E upon mu naught epsilon naught. Using relative permeability, mu r epsilon r equal to epsilon upon epsilon naught, and relative permeability is given by mu r equal to mu upon mu naught. So we are going to put it in this equation, in the above equation. So refractive index will become root mu r epsilon r. So this is the refractive index of the medium. For most non-magnetic materials, we know that for non-magnetic materials, relative permeability is nearly equal to 1. For magnetic materials also, that is diamagnetic and paramagnetic material that have very small magnetization, their relative permeabilities are very close to 1 also. Okay, so their relative permeabilities are nearly close to 1 for non-magnetic materials. Okay, and for magnetic materials like paramagnetic and diamagnetic also, their relative permeability is nearly equal to 1. So refractive index simplifies to the refractive index of the medium is nearly equal to root epsilon r. Okay, now you can see we have discussed or studied one line in previous lecture, in previous slide, that only electric field vector is prominent. Effect of electric field vector is prominent in the electromagnetic wave. You can see only electric properties are prominent here for determining the refractive index. magnetic properties, they are nearly equal to 1, so it can be eliminated from the expression. Okay, only electric field vector or electric properties are prominent to determine the refractive index of the medium. Okay, so we are going to discuss it in detail also in wave optics. Okay, so energy and momentum of EM waves, this topic is for JEE and NEET. So EM waves carry energy which is shared equally between electric and magnetic fields. Okay, energy, what is energy density? The energy density of an electromagnetic wave is the amount of energy stored per unit volume due to both electric and magnetic field. Okay, so there is a energy associated with the EM wave and it is shared equally between the electric and magnetic fields. Energy associated with the electric field and energy associated with the magnetic field in electromagnetic wave is same. Okay, and energy density of electromagnetic wave, what is it? It is the amount of energy stored per unit volume due to both electric and magnetic fields. So energy density of the electric field is given by UE, which is equal to half epsilon naught E square. Also, energy density of the magnetic field, these expression we have discussed in the case of capacitor and in the case of inductor, or we can say in the case of self induction. We have discussed about the energy density, energy stored in the form of magnetic field. Okay, so magnetic energy stored and electrostatic energy stored, we have discussed in electrostatics and moving charges and magnetism chapter. Okay, so energy density of the electric field UE is equal to half epsilon naught E square, and energy density of magnetic field UB is equal to B square upon 2 mu naught. Okay, where E is the electric field strength and B is the magnetic field strength. For EM wave, it can be shown that UE is equal to UB. We have discussed, or I have given you an idea in the first line also, that this energy is shared equally between electric and magnetic fields. So energy density of electric field and energy density of magnetic field will be equal. Total average energy density of electromagnetic wave in vacuum is given by, so total energy, average energy will be equal to U equal to UE plus UB. This will be half epsilon naught E square plus half B square upon mu naught. Okay, so U will be equal to, now we can put E equal to CB. Why? Because we have seen the relation B equal to E upon C, relation of amplitudes. Okay, so we are going to put E equal to BC. Okay, so U equal to half epsilon naught BC square plus half B square upon mu naught. Okay, now you will see in the first term it will become half epsilon naught B square C square. So what is C in the term of mu naught and epsilon naught? C is 1 by root mu naught epsilon naught. So C square will become 1 by mu naught epsilon naught. So here C square will become 1 by mu naught epsilon naught. Mu naught in the numerator will get cancelled out with the denominator mu naught. Oh sorry, epsilon naught in the numerator will get cancelled out with epsilon naught in the denominator, and only mu naught will remain in the equation. And B square, so this will become half B square upon mu naught, and second term is already half B square upon mu naught. So it will become B square upon mu naught. So this is the average energy density. Similarly, if we put B equal to E by C in this expression, so total average energy density will come in the form of electric field. So similarly, we can write U is equal to epsilon naught E square. Okay, in the term of magnetic field, in the term of electric field, we can write in both forms. Total average energy density can be expressed in the terms of peak values. So that were E and B were RMS values. So we can express total average energy in the terms of peak values also, E naught and B naught. So average total energy will be given as epsilon naught E naught square. Okay, average total energy was epsilon naught E square in the term of RMS values E. But E naught square, this is peak value. We know that E naught is equal to root 2 into E. Okay, or E is equal to E naught upon root 2. Okay, put E in the place of E naught upon root 2. It will become epsilon naught E naught square upon 2. And in the terms of magnetic field, average energy will become B naught square upon 2 mu naught, because B is equal to B naught upon root 2. What is intensity? So definition: the energy crossing per unit energy that is carrying electromagnetic wave is carrying. So that energy, the energy crossing per unit area per unit time perpendicular to the direction of propagation is known as intensity of the electromagnetic wave. Okay, energy crossing per unit area per unit time perpendicular to the direction of propagation is known as intensity of the electromagnetic. Average intensity is represented by the formula I equal to average energy into speed of light. Okay, so intensity, average intensity will be equal to half what is average energy we have seen in the terms of peak value. So epsilon naught E naught square C. Okay, equal to what is average energy we have seen in the terms of peak values of magnetic field, B naught square upon 2 mu naught, and intensity will be average energy into C. So it will be B naught square upon 2 mu naught into C. So this is the formula for average intensity in vacuum. Okay, so this is for JEE and NEET. Questions are asked based on this formulas also. So where E naught and B naught are the maximum electric and magnetic field strengths. Also there is momentum. Momentum of an electromagnetic wave is related to its energy U, not energy density, energy, capital U, and speed of light, C. So EM wave transport linear momentum. EM waves transport energy. EM waves transport momentum also. Okay, so if a wave with energy U, capital U, energy, not energy density, is completely absorbed by a surface. If this wave is completely absorbed by the surface, the momentum delivered to the surface is known as P equal to U upon C. So this is the formula when wave is completely absorbed by the surface. If wave is completely reflected by the surface, not absorbed, reflected by the surface, then momentum delivered to the surface is P equal to 2U upon C. Okay, in the case of complete absorption, in the case of completely reflection, momentum delivered will be different. Radiation pressure. Okay, so these radiations are exerting pressure on the surfaces. So radiation pressure is the pressure exerted by electromagnetic radiation on the surface. So it is caused by the transfer of momentum from photons to the surface. For complete absorption, radiation pressure will be equal to intensity upon speed of light. This is for complete absorption, where I is the intensity of radiation. General formula is, for most general formula of radiation pressure, P is equal to 1 plus alpha I upon C. So what is this alpha? This alpha is the surface reflection coefficient. Okay, so if the surface is not completely absorptive, means not complete absorption is happening, so P will be equal to 1 plus alpha I upon C. Some amount of waves are reflecting. Okay, so alpha is the surface reflection coefficient. For perfectly reflecting surface, alpha is 1. So for perfectly reflecting surface, radiation pressure will be equal to 2I upon C. Okay. Now example 8.1, a plane electromagnetic wave of frequency 25 megahertz travel in free space along x-axis, x direction, at a particular point in space at time E is equal to 6.3 J cap. Electric field is in y direction. Volt per meter. What is B at this point? Okay, it is propagating in x direction. Electric field is in y direction. In which direction magnetic field will be? And we have to find the magnitude of magnetic field also. Okay. So what is given in the question? Magnitude of electric field E is equal to 6.3 volt per meter. This is magnitude only. Frequency of wave is nu equal to 25 megahertz. Using relation B naught is equal to E naught upon C. By using this relation, we can find the magnetic field magnitude. Magnitude of magnetic field can be found using this relation according to NCERT question 8.10. This is also true for ratio of magnitudes of electric field and magnetic field. We have also discussed that for peak values or for RMS values, expression will be same. B equal to E upon C is also correct. Okay. So B equal to E upon C. So value of E is given 6.3. It is given RMS value of electric field. Okay, so B equal to E upon C. Put the values of E is 6.3 volt per meter and value of C is 3 into 10 to the power 8. So B is equal to 2.1 into 10 to the power minus 8 Tesla. Good. Okay. Now we will find the direction of magnetic field. So direction of electric field is J cap, means in y direction, and propagation of wave is along x direction, means I cap. For planar wave, E, B and K are mutually perpendicular, means electric field, magnetic field and this propagation vector are mutually perpendicular to each other, and direction of propagation of wave is given by E cap cross B cap. Okay, so what is E cap? J cap. What is B cap? I cap. Oh, sorry, B cap is not given. What is K cap? What is propagation vector? Direction of propagation vector, I cap. So let B is in direction n. So let's suppose B is in n direction. We don't know what in which direction B is. Okay, so E cap cross B cap will be equal to direction of propagation. So J cap, which is the direction of E cap, direction of B cap we don't know, so we are writing n cap here, and direction of propagation is I cap. Okay, so according to the cyclic property of vectors, the cross product of which two unit vector result in I cap? According to cyclic property, J cross K, I cross J result in K cap, J cross K result in I cap. So n cap should be K cap. This means B must be in Z direction K cap, so that J cross K will be equal to I cap. Combining magnitudes and direction, final expression for B will be 2.1 into 10 to the power minus 8, that is magnitude of magnetic field, and direction is K cap Tesla. Got it? Now example 8.2, the magnetic field in a plane electromagnetic wave is given by By equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 7. This is the B naught. Sine 0.5 into 10 to the power 3. What is given? K. Kx. It is in. So this argument, when wave is in Z direction, we wrote it Z here. Now wave, it is not given in which direction wave is moving, but it is given X, means wave is moving in the X direction. Okay, and it is positive, means wave is moving in negative X direction. Okay, by the equation of wave you can determine that in which direction wave is moving. If this argument, in the argument there is a positive sign, there is a plus, that means wave is moving in negative direction. In which negative direction? This X. So this 0.5 into 10 to the power 3 is given K. 1.5 into 10 to the power 11 T. So this 1.5 into 10 to the power 11 is omega Tesla. What is the wavelength and frequency of the wave? And write an expression for the electric field also. So let's see what is given in the question. By is equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 7 sine 0.5 into 10 to the power 3 x plus 1.5 into 10 to the power 11 T Tesla. Okay, so comparing with the equation with the standard form, By equal to B naught sine kx minus omega t. So we have written x here. Magnetic field is in y direction, but here it is written x in the question, means wave is moving in the x direction. Okay, so by comparing it to standard equation, B naught will be 2 into 10 to the power minus 7 Tesla, and k is 0.5 into 10 to the power 3 meter inverse, and omega is equal to 1.5 into 10 to the power 11 radian per second. Since coefficient of k and x, k is x here. Okay, again same thing, coefficient of k is z. We have discussed about in theory section, we have discussed that wave was moving in the z direction. That's why coefficient of k was z, but in this question coefficient of k is x, so this wave is propagating along x direction. Okay, but sine of kx and omega t is same, or we can say sine of omega is positive. In the argument of sine there is a positive sign, means propagation is along negative x-axis, means that propagation vector, this is not a unit vector, that is propagation vector k cap, that is in the negative x direction, or we can say minus I cap. Okay, using relation k is equal to 2 pi by lambda, we can find the value of k, and wavelength lambda can also be calculated as lambda equal to 2 pi by k. So 2 pi by k value of k is given 0.5 into 10 to the power 3, k is given also. So lambda is equal to 0.0126 meter. Okay, hence wavelength of the wave is 0.0126 meter. Now calculation of frequency. So we know that by the relation omega equal to 2 pi nu, omega is given. So v equal to omega by 2 pi. So what is omega given? 1.5 into 10 to the power 11 radian per second. So nu is equal to 1.5 into 10 to the power 11 upon 2 pi. So omega is approximately equal to 23.9 10 to the power 9 hertz. Or we can say nu is approximately equal to 23.9 gigahertz. Hence frequency of the wavelength is frequency of the wave is 23.9 gigahertz. Okay, now B part, we have to write the expression for electric field also. So expression for electric field, we have to find the magnitude of electric field and direction of electric field. So using relation B naught equal to E naught upon C, NCERT equation 8.10, so we can find the magnitude of amplitude of magnetic field, where B naught and E naught are amplitude of magnetic and electric field respectively. Putting the value of C equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second and B naught equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 7 Tesla in the above equation. So E naught will be 3 into 10 to the power 8 into 2 into 10 to the power minus 7. So E naught will be 60 volt per meter. So we have found the magnitude of electric field. Direction we can find using similarly that we have found in the previous example. So given wave is propagating in negative x direction and B is in y direction. Okay, direction of propagation of planar wave is given by E cap cross B cap. Okay, since direction of propagation is given by minus I cap, so suppose E cap is in n direction. We don't know what is n cap. Okay, so E cap, that is n cap, cross B cap, that is j cap, is giving the direction of propagation, which is given minus I cap. So which cross product of which vectors represent minus I cap according to cyclic property? We know that j cross k represent I cap. The reverse of that, k cross j represent minus I cap. Okay, this means E must be along the z direction, k cap, according to cyclic property of vectors or cross product. So electric field component along z axis is obtained as, so Ez electric field is in z direction equal to 60 volt per meter sine 0.5 into 10 to the power 3x. So this k and omega will be same as magnetic field because both are in phase with each other. Okay, so sine 0.5 into 10 to the power 3x plus 1.5 into 10 to the power 11t. And in which direction electric field is there? In z axis. So electromagnetic waves are self-sustaining oscillations of electric field E and magnetic field B that can travel through speed of light predicted by Maxwell equation. These waves are produced by accelerating charges and don't need a medium to propagate. In planar EMF wave, E and B fields are perpendicular to each other and they are oscillating in phase. Ratio of E and B gives the speed of the light, which is equal to C in vacuum. Direction of propagation of planar EM wave is given by direction of cross product of E and B, that is E cap cross B cap. The wave speed in medium depends on electric permittivity and magnetic permeability. Ratio of speed gives us refractive index of the medium, that is n equal to C upon V, and also n equal to root epsilon r mu r. There are some practice questions. A planar electromagnetic wave has an electric field amplitude of 300 volt per meter. Calculate the amplitude of magnetic field. An electromagnetic wave in vacuum has a wavelength of 400 nanometer. You have to determine its frequency, its wave number k, its angular frequency omega. The magnetic field component of a plane electromagnetic wave in vacuum is given by Bz equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 6 Tesla sine 1.5 into 10 to the power 7 x minus 4.5 into 10 to the power 15 t. Similar question we have done. Okay. Write the corresponding expression of electric field component. In a medium with relative permeability mu epsilon are equal to 4 and relative permeability mu are equal to 1, calculate the speed of electromagnetic waves and find the refractive index of the medium. Okay, so this is all about today's lecture. I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you.